Welcome back. Let's talk now about one of the key parts of marketing, and that's branding. Now, the first thing to understand is what a brand is. And a brand, and this is directly from your textbook, is a name, term, symbol, design, or combination thereof that identifies a seller's products and differentiates them from the competitor's products. Some classic examples: the Coca-Cola bottle, okay? Beatbox has one as well. Theirs is putting their product in a box that looks like a 90s era boombox. Pilar Rum, which is based upon Ernest Hemingway's design or Ernest Hemingway's favorite rum, looks like an old World War II canteen to remind you that Hemingway was a reporter during the war. And last but not least, the Louisville Slugger baseball bat. Oops, sorry. The Louisville Slugger baseball bat. One of these days I'll get the directions right, okay? All of these fit the definition of a brand. Now let's use our Coke bottle for example right now, okay? This one's a great example of how we use the different branding theories, okay? This one uses scripting that we can see. It uses the shape of the bottle. It uses the ridges in the bottle. It uses the names Coca-Cola or Coke, which we see on the lid. It uses that red color so we know instantly what it is, okay? And even the green tint in the bottle is true to Coke. So if you look at this particular bottle, it probably has, take a look at it, it's got 1, 2, 3 with the bottle, 4 with the ribbing, at least 4 different trade marks that we can think of, and brand marks. The Pilar is the same way. It looks like, in terms of the shape, like an old canteen from World War II, the old steel canteens you'll see if you go to the Army Surplus store, including it's got a compass on the top, okay? It's got the chain like you'd have, so it's like you're pulling off the lid of your canteen to take a drink. And it's got an extra wide mouth compared to a normal liquor bottle. All of that's designed to give you a specific sense about the product. Now, why do we do this? Well, it builds up equity. Go back to the Coke bottle because it's far better known than the Pilar bottle. No matter where you go in the world, people know what this shape is. And that helps you sell product, and that builds your brand equity. People recognize this. Doesn't matter if Coca-Cola is in English or Swahili, people will still know what it is. It allows you to have a global brand. If you think about the products that are best known for their branding, Coke, Nestle, Louisville Slugger, all of them are instantly recognizable. And that allows them to be instantly playing on the global stage. So when we talked about, do you want to have one product or multiple products? If you want to have that single product, you have to have that branding that sticks out. The apple with the bite taken out of it. People around the world know what that is. Okay, the AT&T logo, that's known around the world as well. All of those tell people that are looking at them a certain level of quality to expect, a certain price point to pay. They communicate everything you need to know about that product through that branding. And best of all, branding allows you to develop brand loyal consumers. My favorite restaurant in Austin is called El Arroyo, and every day they have a different sign on the ditch, or on the ditch is what it translates to if you don't understand Spanish, on their sign up front. And the other day the sign was, nobody cares about Coke. Whenever you go to a restaurant, they'll say, how's Pepsi? As if you're asking, how's the product? But nobody asks, how's Coke? Okay, kind of a funny piece, but when you think about it, when you think deep down about it, that's because Coke users have such tremendous brand loyalty that they'll have something completely different rather than drink a Pepsi at a given time. That's if you're a really loyal brand user. If you're not, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Branding breaks down into two basic types: manufacturer's brands, your Coke product, and private label brand, which you'll see in a store. So if you go into a grocery store and you see what are called house brands, or you go into a clothing store and you see a house brand for the particular retailer you're dealing with, those are called private labels. Retailers love private labels. Private labels to retailers are money because they have higher margins attached to them. They don't have to worry about paying a premium to the manufacturer to cover off all the branding they're spending on. Because of that, they bring in a higher profit margin. They can provide a source of differentiation because the private label is usually unique to that retailer. So it provides a way so that you've taken away the shopping aspect of the product. Oh, look, I really like to wear St. John's Bay, which happens to be a JCPenney private label. Okay. And it gives them captive brands. And captive brands allows them to build the same kind of brand equity national players like Coke have without having to spend as much on the marketing effort. Branding can be individual or it can be family brands. Coke uses kind of a family branded strategy in the soft drink industry. Everything is Coke. Coca-Cola, in this case, Coca-Cola Classic, because this bottle's from 2001 in the opening of the Ralph Engelstad. There's the notation on it that tells you I had it when the Engelstad opened. But they also use individual branding when it comes to products that are unrelated to soft drinks, and that's because they don't want to be seen diluting their core brand. And they learned that in part of that whole new Coke fiasco we talked about earlier. But some companies want everything branded with their name on it. So everything will be blank company name, okay? The president's company, Trump, they like to have their name on everything. So it was Trump Vodka, Trump Steaks, Trump Airlines, mainly because that's how they made their money, was licensing the name. But they also wanted to make sure that people knew who made it. Other companies like Procter & Gamble, you never see them use Procter & Gamble on anything. They have family brands that they use, and they separate them based upon the type of product. Okay. Sometimes you have co-branding. Best place to see co-branding is usually if you've got a Windows-based computer. Take a look down, you probably see an Intel sticker on there that says there's an Intel inside. Co-branding is when two or more products are branded the same, okay, placed on the same package. You see that in other areas too. You know, you might buy cookies that use Nestle products. So it's like cookie brand using Nestle. So you know what you're getting. We do see that quite frequently, okay, as we go through. And we also have trademarks and service marks. Trademarks are things like the Coca-Cola name, okay? The shape of the bottle, that's a trademark. The only way as a company you can maintain the trademark is to actively use it. So if you stop using it, then somebody else can come along and use the trademark. I'll give you an example we see here at UND. As you all know, UND had to drop the name Fighting Sioux and the old traditional warrior head on the uniform. So now we're the Fighting Hawks. But to ensure nobody else picks up the Fighting Sioux, the NCAA mandated that UND still had to maintain the Fighting Sioux name and Fighting Sioux merchandise. And the reason they had to do that was to protect the trademarks. Because if they didn't protect the trademarks, somebody else could come in and start marketing it, and that would cause confusion. Even more confusion than we have now with the new name and our new mascot. Okay, so that's where we're seeing trademarks. Service marks are trademarks, but they're for services. So if you see United, we love to fly and it shows, that's a service mark to them. Okay, if they come up with their new Polaris service, that's a service mark to them. It's because they're primarily a service provider. So trademarks and service marks, the same, essentially the same thing. One applies to products, that's a trademark. A service mark applies to services. Okay. Then we've got packaging. Packaging becomes crucial. Everything I've showed you so far is packaging related, except for the Louisville Slugger. Okay, the Louisville Slugger is definitely not package related, but the Coke bottle, the Polar bottle, the BeatBox, those are all package related, and that was the bat hitting the desk. Don't panic. Packaging serves a variety of purposes. The first one is it contains and protects the product. Why do we put it in a glass? Well, because it'll last longer in glass than it will in plastic, about twice as long. Glass is tougher than plastic, so it'll withstand a bigger shock. That's why we put it in there. Okay. Why does BeatBox put their product in cardboard? Quite easily, because the bladder that's inside, if they didn't, very difficult to handle. So what it does is it contains the product and it makes the product safer. And because it's a plastic bladder, very easy to puncture, unlike going through the cardboard, which is tougher. It allows us to promote the product, okay? Coke does that through all the different ways they put Coke on it. BeatBox does that by putting things like how to use it on the back, okay? So they've got how to use it on the back. That's an interesting thing. They've got ends on it. This is where the spout comes out, so you don't have to take the bladder out. And on the other end, just so you know, it's from Texas. It's the map of Texas, okay? It's the map of Texas. There you go. All right. So it really protects the products. It promotes the product. It facilitates storage. By putting it in this convenient carrying box, it's easier to carry. So it's easier to carry. It's also easier to stack if you're buying many of them. Okay, you can stack them 4 or 5 high. Okay, it facilitates recycling. It's easy to recycle cardboard and plastic. Right? We put labeling on it. It serves as a great labeler. What you're looking for is something that's promotional or a theme or a logo. Well, you've got that with BeatBox. Okay, you've got the whole BeatBox theme going on. Right? You've got that with Coke in the shape of the bottle, no matter what size it is. And last but not least, we can do some greenwashing or pinkwashing. We can talk about how it's organic or how it's better for the environment or how we're giving money to different charitable groups in support of buying the product. None of the products I have today show that, but it's one thing we can put on. Now, if we're truly serious about it, it's not green or pinkwashing. But if we're doing it just to boost sales, then it's green or pinkwashing. Another key part of the product is the UPC code. Okay, that's the series of bars that are on every product. That identifies it, so when you go through the cash register, it will ring it out for you. Oops, hang on a sec. Where is it? There we go. It'll ring it out for you, and it'll bring the price up. The UPCs are dumb, okay? All they can do is tell you that the product's been purchased, and all they can do is tell you probably what size the product is and who the manufacturer is. Today what we're seeing is a big movement towards RFID tags, radio frequency identification tags. And what RFID tags will allow us to do is not only tell what the product is, who the manufacturer is, but it'll have hundreds of other pieces of information on there that we can then use to track the usage of that particular product. We can trace back where that product came from. So if we have to do a product recall, much easier than just using a straight UPC. RFID, opening up a brand new area. And as we get more into the Internet of Things, even better, and it'll have a huge impact on customer relationship management because now we can track the product once it leaves our location and see how customers are actually using it. There's a couple of global issues we want to talk about, okay? And we talked about these in the global chapter, for example. One is, do you want one brand name everywhere? Most companies have found that that's not a good idea. Coke's one of the few, but even they've had to change it. Remember I mentioned that they've had to change the name in China just to get the tone right so that it sounded more pleasant than what it would actually sound like if they just did a straight translation of Coca-Cola. Okay. What you do find is you get greater recognition from market to market if you keep a single brand name, but it often doesn't work because of language, culture, or just preferences of that particular consumer group. So you'll find it'll be the same product, but it'll have different names and sometimes different packaging depending upon where you go. Okay. We sometimes see brand names in different markets that we've talked about already because of the translation. So if you're taking a product global, think about the labeling issues. Will it work taking it global the way you have it here? One of the big issues if you're a US company and you're thinking of expanding into Canada is you immediately have to put everything in French and English on your packaging. Is there enough room? If you take a look at the BeatBox packaging, they'd be hard pressed to go into the Canadian market with this particular product. It's too busy already. So if you put the French side on it, you'd be even worse. So you have to figure out, will that work at all? Okay. That takes you into the aesthetics. The climate considerations. Will a product last in the climate you're sending it to? If you're selling a product that works well in North Dakota, for example, will it work equally well in a place like Oklahoma City or Austin, Texas, where the temperatures are much higher and you've also got more of a humidity aspect to it? So how will that product last as you go forward in those areas? All those have to be taken into account when you're doing packaging decisions. The last thing we want to talk about today is warranties. Most products come with warranties, unless they expressly say there is no warranty. Okay? Most products come with a warranty. The express warranty is the written guarantee regarding the product. So if somebody says it's 100% nylon in construction, they're warranting that it's 100% nylon. That's expressly stated because they printed it up. You've got implied warranties. One of the biggest implied warranties you've got is if you sell a product, let's say you're selling a baseball bat, okay? The implied warranty on a baseball bat is it's good for what it's designed for, which is hitting a ball. All right, that's what it's designed for. It should be able to do that. And you also have legal responsibilities underneath the Magnuson-Moss Act, which is explained in the book, that unless you specifically say it's a limited warranty and you specify out what the limits are, you are assumed to be providing a full warranty on the product. So that's why whenever you buy a product, it'll say, this product comes with a limited warranty, and it will list off all the limits. Okay? Tires are a great one, for example. If you buy tires, the biggest limit is road hazard. If you run over something and the tire blows, too bad for you unless you take out the road hazard insurance on it, which will cost you a few extra dollars. Okay, we're done. I've put together a few videos for you on branding. Take a look at those. Tomorrow you have test number 2. Best of luck with that. And you have a marketing minute today. So good luck with that. And I will see you on Thursday for chapter 11. Have a great couple of days. Bye for now.